So, what is the process of sculpting a statue like this one? How does that work?
Well, I do a lot of research and then decide on a pose with Laura. And then I build a tubular steel armature. I rough it in styrofoam, geometric blocks of styrofoam, carve that down, rough shape. Then I put clay over top and do the actual sculpting in the clay. And once the clay is done and Laura and the committee has approved it, then I made a rubber mold of the whole thing, cast the whole thing into hollow wax. Then we make a mold around the wax and burn the wax out and pour the bronze into that mold, knock the mold off, and it's cast in about 10 pieces. We weld all those pieces together. Then we sandblast it, then we patina it, and then we lacquer it, then we wax it, then we bring it over and drill the holes and squirt the epoxy in like you saw today and mount it.
So it's an incredibly labor-intensive process.
Many, many steps, very labor-intensive, as Laura and the committee can attest to. They've watched each step.
About how many hours, if you had to guess, would it take or did it take to put Hoppy together?
Hundreds and hundreds of hours.
Now, did you know anything about Hopalong Cassidy before you started on this project?
I'm just about 64 years old, so yes, I did. He was one of my boyhood heroes.
Gotcha. So you grew up watching his movies?
Absolutely.
So did you get to connect with those old memories while you were building the statue?
Absolutely. I mean, there was black and white, good and bad, and he was the good guy, and yeah, it was a simpler time.
So how do you feel seeing it put into play? I mean, I know this isn't your first rodeo, no pun intended, putting a statue together and having it mounted. But how does it feel to see your work come to fruition today?
Oh, it's really cool, and I love that he has that pistol ready, a defender of good against evil. I mean, again, it harkens back to a simpler time.
It's okay. That was a controlled topple, okay?
It's made of bronze. It's probably the sidewalk that's going to get hurt.
That's right. Oh, I know. But it scares the life.
Okay. So how long have you been a Hoppy fan?
Since May of 1990.
May of 1990. Now, how can you remember that specifically?
Because that was when we had a downtown festival, and we had the theme of Victorian ladies. And so when we were doing the evaluation, they said, "What are we going to do next year?" And I said, "Let's do Hopalong Cassidy." And they said, "Why?" And I said, "Well, he was born in Henrysburg. He went to school at Park School, and nothing's ever been done for him." So I started working on it, and we had the first festival in 1991 and the last one in 2015. And in that time, we had 500 members, and they took the newsletter, and we have several of them coming to this event this week. I mean, from Maryland, New York, Connecticut, California, North Carolina, Pennsylvania. I mean, just all over. They think Cambridge is just a great spot because we're honoring Hoppy. We didn't have television when I was growing up, and I only got to go to the movies once in a while because I lived out in the country. So, no. My husband, though, when he watched every movie there ever was, and could tell you. And the true fans can tell you what hand he had out in what movie. They know all that stuff.
Now, this is a project that's been several years in the making, getting this statue put together. What inspired you to think maybe we should have a statue of Hoppy honoring?
We've always wanted one, and years ago, Judge John Mark Nicholson and I talked about having a statue by Cotrill up at the municipal building to go alongside the monument, but that wasn't to be. So we looked around. We went ahead and did the monument, and one day it came to me, I bet the Senior Center would be the likely spot, and it was. It is.
Standing here today, watching the statue be trucked in and then put on the crane and put into place, how does that make you feel?
Humble, because he was such a fine person. He was a good person, and he did believe in justice for all, and he was a good guy. And even though we have him holding a gun, it's in a protective stance, and we're honoring all first responders, the military, the state patrol, fire department, anyone who protects and serves, as well as the fictional cowboy.
So you've been, of course, an integral part in getting the statue here. What other sort of support have you had? What does it take to get a statue like Hoppy's put into place?
Well, it takes money, first off. And we had an anonymous donor that gave me $25,000 to start with. And so then the people who are in the fan club and used to come to the festival contributed another $30,000. So for the statue and the plaque, you saw the plaque, it lists all the names of people who donated to it. So, but it's taken 2 years of work, and it's a legacy, you know. I mean, when I'm gone, people are going to say, "Oh, I remember Hopalong Cassidy," and that's what makes it worthwhile. Hoppy forever, forever Hoppy.
Thank you, Laura.